Over the next few months, I'm going to do a series of videos that I'll call my long-term review series, where I review gear that I've been using for at least a year or two. And I'm doing this because we're in the middle of this COVID supply constraint issue where it's hard to get bikes and some parts. But I think most of the gear that I'll review in these videos is still available. So I'm going to start off with the Garmin Vivoactive 4. And this is a watch that has been on my wrist day and night for the past couple years. Like literally the only time I really take this off is to charge it. Every once in a while to wear a dress watch, but other than that, this thing's on my wrist all the time. So this watch, one of the reasons I like it is because it's thin. I've used some smartwatches that have thick, just thick sides, and mountain biking, they hit this bone in my wrist. This one does not do this. It's light and it's small, and that's one of the reasons I like it. Another thing that I like about this watch is the glass is so incredibly durable. I have hit this glass on so many things, and it does not have a scratch on it. I don't have any kind of screen protector. I think it's a sapphire glass that Garmin puts on it, and I've literally never had a watch with a screen or glass this durable. I wish my phones were made out of glass like this, because like I said, I've crashed with this. I've hit it on rocks, I've hit it on walls, no scratch at all. I find myself using this for mountain biking as much or maybe more than I use my Garmin bike computer. So I have a Garmin Edge 830 that I use for mountain biking, and I have 3 different mountain bikes. Back in the day, I used to review bikes when I could get them. And so it's nice to not have to switch the Garmin Edge 830 around to different bikes. I try to do it when I remember, but a lot of times I'll take my bike somewhere and I realized I forgot to swap swap the computer. And so having this, I just track my rides. And the reason that's useful is because I don't use a bike computer on a mountain bike to really monitor things while I'm riding. I'll just every once in a while check my distance, check my time. That's about it. But I like tracking my rides. I like tracking it on Garmin Connect, which carries over to Strava. So Strava is what I use most to kind of keep the history of all my activities, because it's not just riding, it's other things that I'll talk about that I use this for. So for mountain biking, again, I like this because I don't have to swap it around to different bikes. It's on my wrist all the time. It's very accurate. I compare it to a speed sensor. I compare it to my heart rate monitor. I compare it to a cadence sensor if I want to. Pretty much anything that you compare to a Garmin bike computer, you can compare those devices, or those sensors, I should say, to this watch. I also use this for kayaking. It's totally waterproof. You can swim. I can't remember how deep it goes, but I mean, I've gone 20 feet deep with it and it's been fine. I think it can go a lot deeper than that. But again, it's nice to just have something on my wrist that I can use for all different kind of activities. My only beef with this is it does not have a kayaking activity. So you can go into different modes, like, you start your activities, and I don't know if you can see it on the screen there, but you can scroll through all different kind of activities, and some of them I have inactivated, some of them are active, but it does not have a kayak activity. It has stand-up paddleboard, which is kind of annoying because I'll use the stand-up paddleboard mode to track my kayaking. But then when I look in Garmin Connect on my activity list, it says stand-up paddleboarding. And even though I have a paddleboard, I'm kayaking most of the time when I go out on the water. So honestly, that's probably like the only complaint I have about the Vivoactive 4. This thing I charge about every 4 days. If I'm tracking a lot of activities, so maybe I track the kayak and a mountain bike a couple times, then I might have to charge it every 2 or 3 days. But my wife has an Apple Watch, my daughter has an Apple Watch. They charge those things every single day. So I really like the fact that this thing does not have to be charged that often. One other thing that I do want to mention is the phone app. The Garmin Connect phone app is really, really good. It's very useful. It's got a lot of really good features to it. I've used it both on the iPhone and on Android. Google Pixel 6 Pro is the last one. This is the iPhone 13 Pro Max. It's the first iPhone ever in my life that I've decided to keep as my daily phone. Now, I will say that Connectivity has been a little bit better on the iPhone than the Android. There's been a few times when I had trouble pairing the watch to the Android if I was switching phones. Now, once you pair it, it's paired, it's done. But the iPhone, and there have been a few times on Android where it did require me to put in another PIN code and repair it. I've not really had that issue on the iPhone. So connectivity is better on the iPhone. However, there's a feature on Android that allows you to send a canned response. So if someone sends you a text message, now reading text messages, phone, same on iOS or Android. You can get all your messages on here. You can see when phone calls are coming through. You can answer phone calls. You can decline phone calls. It's really cool. But on Android, you can send a canned response. So you can set them up in the app like yes, no, okay, outrighting, call you back later, whatever. And you can just real quick reply with that canned response. Now you cannot like type in a text through the watch. You cannot call and talk to someone through the watch like you can with other smart watches. But I don't really miss that. It's not a big deal for me. I do like being able to see and read any notifications, emails, texts, all kind of notifications will come through on this, Android or iOS. So I just want to mention that as far as using your phone app with the Garmin Vivoactive 4. So, that is, and these videos are not going to be that long, right? I'm just going to talk about some of the gear that I've been using. I'll drop the original review I did on this watch below because I went into a lot more function, a lot more detail. Original band, I have not changed the band on this. I mean, it's just held up. And that's why I want to do these videos, to talk about a lot of the gear that I use that has really held up well and that I still use on a constant basis. Another thing that I'll mention, and I mentioned this probably in the first review of this, is the heart rate sensor on this is not very accurate when you get up to like above 110, 120 beats per minute. Then I use my heart rate monitor. So I honestly keep the heart rate sensor off on this. I mean, it's nice to like just kind of see what your pulse is when you're just resting. It's accurate for that, but for exercising, use a heart rate monitor. And I do pair this to a speed sensor. Those are the two sensors that I pair this to, and it works really, really well. So that is the Garmin Vivoactive 4. Now, as of recording this video, I would imagine they're going to come out with a Vivoactive 5, maybe soon. I would think so. This thing's been out for a while. So, once that happens, you can probably get these for pretty cheap. I'll mention one last thing. You can put music on this, but I haven't done it. So some of you may be wondering, do I use this for my Amazon music? I just don't. I mean, I have my phone with me, so I just use that. But you can, if you wanted to, leave your phone behind and, just use earphones with the watch, you can do it, but that's just not something I really do. So that is the Garmin Vivoactive 4, a watch that I can recommend. It's lightweight, it's super durable, and it's just great to have some tracking device on your wrist all the time for when you're hiking or whatever activity you do. It's really, really useful. So Garmin Vivoactive 4, long-term gear review. I do recommend it, still using it on a daily basis. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching.